Hey guys, welcome back to Conversations with Queens, a mini series on this channel where we chat with some of our favorite pageant personalities. Today we are chatting with Clare Dacanay, this year's Miss Universe Philippines 2023. Paranaque. Claire is joining her very first pageant, but not without breaking barriers and opening doors, because Claire is one of three mothers vying for the prestigious title of Miss Universe Philippines. As an advocate for maternal mental health, does Claire have what it takes to be a transformational leader and a force for good? Well, today we'll find out. If you guys enjoy videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out all the other Conversations with Queens. Enjoy watching! You're a mom and a Miss Universe Philippines candidate, and I can imagine that it's very busy.
Yeah, actually I'm also a student, so like at times,
Oh gosh.
like when I'm doing my plates, because I'm an interior design, I put her on my lap while doing plates. Then sometimes she kind of moves it and I'm just like, okay, start from scratch.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Where do you study interior design now?
Philippine School of Interior Design. It's in Taguig, but I haven't actually had a face-to-face class there because I started when it was the pandemic, so everything's online. But I visited the campus. It's really nice there. Small and very interactive because like we're just like a small batch. And like we're really close, me and my batchmates. Also the professors, they're very, very nice. Like the dean, Sir Pod, she's like one of my favorite professors there. He's like my role model in interior design. Like he always shares his stories and stuff like that. So like I get more intrigued the more that I have classes with him.
That's so cool. How are you dealing with that and the pageant preparations, everything? Because I assume you've been preparing for Miss Universe way before the application. So how has that been?
So it's quite stressful, sleep deprived, that's one, but it's manageable. Like, because one of my mentors, Tita Jerry, always says like, if you really want something, you have to do whatever it takes to get it. So even if I have to sacrifice my own me time, my self time, I try to make everything balanced. So if I feel like I'm doing too much of pageant stuff, I make sure that I expand it to wanting to be with my family, my daughter. So I take her to the park or like small errands. I bring her with me, like with the mall stuff, buying her stuff, bank stuff. She's always with me. Even now, she's with me. So every opportunity I have to spend with her, I always take it because I feel like once the coronation night is near, the more I'm going to be busy. So as much as possible now, every small time I have with her, I always make sure it's with her, I spend time with her. So yeah. And my partner, of course.
They're so supportive of you.
Yes, they are. Actually, whenever I get home, sometimes they actually wait for me. So like, sometimes I get home at like maybe 10, 11, and they're just there waiting for me. And I can hear them once I enter the house. They're like shouting or like laughing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're still awake. So,
do you think she has any idea that her mom is doing this big thing, MUPH?
She does. Because there are times where my partner is like scrolling on Instagram or TikTok and they see my face. She's like, Mama, Mama, pretty. And I'm just like, it's cute. At the same time, I'm wondering, does she really understand what's going on? So, yeah, like one day when she sees these things, like when she Googles my name or something, it's something that she'll remember, I think, because she's at that age where she's slowly remembering things. So, like, she's actually scared of the dark. There are times where I close the lights and she starts crying. So, like, those small things, like, I feel like she has that capacity to remember things already. So I'm sure she's gonna remember this when she's older.
What do you want her to think or feel when one day she goes back and sees all of your videos, your photos, and see that her mom joined Miss Universe Philippines and you're actually one of the first mothers to join the pageant? What do you want her to take from your experience?
I just want her to be proud of who she is. Like for me, this is something that I've always wanted ever since I was young. So like I want her to apply that in her life. Like, whatever she wants to be, whatever her dream is. Sorry, whatever.
Naririnig niyo ba?
She's saying Lolok. I think she's looking at her Lola's picture.
Aw.
But like, whatever her dream is, anything she wants to achieve, trial and error, whatever way she gets there. If she fails, if she succeeds, I'll always be there for her. And I want her to see my struggles, my achievements as something that she can learn in the future. So like, my struggles now as the pageant comes near is time restriction. So like, I try to micromanage my time with her. So sorry.
It's okay.
So
It's so
sorry.
cute. It's so cute.
But yeah, so like what I said a while ago, I have lack of sleep sometimes. So there are days where I'm just like exhausted and I'm running on coffee. I'm running on like her entertainment before I go to anything. I always see her. That's like a priority for me. That's number one before I leave. It's always to see her. But yeah, it's just I want her to be proud of who she is when she grows up, because right now I'm proud of where I am. Like, I'm in the course I want to do. I'm fulfilling my dream. I'm a happy mother and I'm so proud of her. Like, her smallest achievements, learning how to walk, everything makes me feel like I'm proud of myself. So that's something I want her to learn when she's older, to be proud of herself, no matter if it's a failure, an achievement, anything. Like, it's just a process in life to get where you are today.
That's amazing. And to be doing all of this, I feel like pageantry in itself is already so much.
Yeah.
But you're doing it while studying,
Yeah.
while taking care of your daughter. I was wondering about the story of how you ended up joining Miss Universe Philippines, because for the longest time it was for single women only,
Yeah.
and it was a specific rule that
Yeah.
doesn't have a child. It was such a specific rule, and things really changed in the last year when women are now allowed to pursue pageantry as a goal, even as a mother. So how did you decide to join? Because you said that you've always been a pageant fan. How did you come to the conclusion that, okay, this is my year, this is my time?
Okay, so one thing about me is that prior to my decision, I'm always on my phone before every break time I have. So it was nighttime. I really remember this. We were on the bed, me and my partner and my daughter. She sleeps in between us, so she was already sleeping. Then we were on Facebook. Then I saw like an article. I think it was CNN or ABS, I forgot. But it says that MUP is removing the civil status requirement. So like, right then and there, at first I was like telling my partner, Jaime, what if I turn Miss Universe? Isn't that crazy? So at first it was like something just come across my mind. Then like after a minute or so, not even a minute, after 10 seconds, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna join.
I love it!
I'm gonna join, you know what, I might as well go. But I was like not even ready. Like, I think it was just like,
When was this?
I forgot, it was like October or September or October,
Of last
around
year.
that time. Yeah, because I remember I applied for my camp, and they're like my family, and I super love them. That was my first goal, to find someone who can help me, mentor me, because I had no clue what I was doing. Like, I was like, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna do it. And then the thing was, I was like not prepared, like in terms of like my physical appearance, because I was like enjoying my motherhood stage. I was just eating buffet every day, samgyeopsal.
Yes, same,
So like,
girl.
I was just always eating, and at the same time, I was more focused on like family life, school life, and I was working at the time. I was under my partner's company, and so it was like just a spur of moment, and I just had to. The next day, that's when I started. The next day, I was really excited, no? The next day, I started thinking of an action plan, like what do I have to do. So like, I was waiting for my camp to open screening. So like, and then I had screening, then I passed, and then that was like the first step, and it just kept flowing from there. And so now here I am, Miss Universe.
Miss Universe
Philippines.
Philippines.
So yeah, and I'm actually quite happy because my partner has been very supportive of everything. Like, because, you know, I'm the one who kept dealing with the family stuff with my daughter prior to joining the pageant. Now he's like going the extra mile for me. So like there are times where, because my daughter is very clingy to me, so she's very, very clingy. It's like a mutual feeling. We're very clingy. So initially, whenever she'd see me leave, she'd always cry. She'd always like wonder where I am because I'd be gone for like 3 hours, 4 hours. So it was like a training moment for the both of us to be independent to each other, and also with me and my partner, because everything I did was always at home. My school was home. My work was flexible with time. So like my daughter's stuff would always be at home around where we live. So everything was just in that area. But now I'm like branching out to different areas, to different people, and like it kind of learned independence mutually from the both of us, which is something I really wanted her to learn also at an early age, because I don't want her to be too dependent on me when she's older. Also like independence for me and my partner, so that we have time for ourselves, which is very important, me time for us individually. So I feel like my journey in the pageant actually made our family stronger in terms of like our relationship and our values. So yeah.
That's so good. And I mean, seeing them here, it's so cute.
We're
that
so clingy.
the whole family is here, guys. It's amazing.
Yeah, even her nanny is here, and she's like our family as well. Like she's like, oh, kilig naman.
No, ate. How's it gonna be like, for example, once things get really busy for the pageant? Like, for example, once the coronation, tapos, hi, Dali. Say hi to the camera.
Say hi. Hi.
Hi. Do you like your car?
Give it to Tita Ayin. No? Wow, you're so
Thank you. Can you imagine your life, for example, post-pageant, best scenario happens?
Yeah.
How can you imagine, or how do you envision your life moving forward? Because that would be a life-changing event. And
well, first and foremost, the priority is to, you know, mentally prepare yourself, because if ever the best scenario does happen, I hope it does. I know it will. I'm just kidding. If it does happen, I have to mentally prepare myself, also my family, because the more it's going to be time constricted with them, at the same time, I want to embark my advocacy and my learnings through my journey in the whole pageant with NEPH to empower women that you don't just stop from where you are, despite not even just being a mom. Like any pothole on the road, you don't just stop there. You have to keep going, push yourself further and further, because you know, as an individual, you have so much potential, and if you just keep that momentum going, the more you'll learn about yourself and your story. So for me, the priority is just mentally prepare yourself, expect the worst so that you can prepare for it, and at the same time, always just be kind and appreciate everything and everyone who helped you get to where you are today. And the main goal of why I want to join as well is to show importance with maternal mental health, which is specifically PPD, which happens to a lot of mothers in the Philippines who actually don't even know that they're going through it. And I want to be able to find a proper platform for them so that they can actually figure out the self-conflict with them before they become the best potential of motherhood they can be. Because if you're going through your own self-conflict, it's like you're trying to figure out yourself at the same time trying to figure out how to make a life for your daughter. Because I don't know, for me it's like you're still trying to figure out who you are. How can you become a mother if you don't even know who you are as a person? Like if you're not there yet, you're not ready yet. So for me, like, you can't really let your child fulfill their potential growth because you're still trying to prepare. You're still at preparatory stage when you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be prepared for everything. It's like you're going to an exam and you didn't study. So like, and you're expecting an A plus in that exam, but you didn't study. So how can you get that A if you don't know anything about it, and if you're still trying to figure out what the answer is? So yeah, I hope that made sense.
Yeah. Was it something that you experienced personally when you got pregnant? Was it something, because PPD, postpartum depression, is, I don't think it's something that Miss Universe as a platform has ever been able to really advocate for, because of course this has been for the longest time a competition for single women. So I guess from your personal experience, why is it important for mothers and women who are experiencing PPD to see this on the Miss Universe stage?
Actually, prior to having my daughter, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder with suicidal tendencies. So when I found out I was gonna have her, this was something I really wanted to focus on, my mental health, because you can actually pass it down to your child while you're pregnant. And at the same time, it was like a risk factor of getting PPD. So my first goal was to prioritize my mental health while carrying her. At the same time, prioritize my relationship with my partner, because he's gonna be the external factor that I'm always exposed to, especially because it was like the pandemic, so we're gonna be stuck with each other. And I couldn't go out because, you know, pregnant women were always restricted because of COVID protocol. So like, my first goal was always just to focus on my mental health. Because like when I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, one of the main symptom I had was extraction from interaction. So I was always, that's how I always like to say it. I was always just trying to figure out my life for myself, never really wanting to have that genuine connection or focusing on my relationships with others, my peers, my friends, my family. So like I was always just on my own, thinking about myself, thinking that the whole world hates me, thinking that no one can help me. So like when I had my daughter, I didn't want her to feel like I was so disattached from her. So that's why my mental health was such a priority, because imagine if your mom didn't really want to genuinely spend time with you because she's just caught up in her own little bubble, that she just wants to be in that bubble. Like it's like for a child that's gonna feel like she's not something that you value. So like that was the main reason why I wanted to advocate PPD, because I knew the importance of that genuine connection you have with your daughter, especially like when you give birth. I'm not sure if you know this, but like the first touch of your baby, that's why when you give birth, they always put the baby in the mother's arms. So like that was like the start of our connection. And sometimes like women with PPD, they don't really feel that first touch of connection with their kid, and it can actually affect the kid's overall development, like not just like physically, neurologically and cognitive growth. So I didn't want my own struggles to be passed down to her. And that's why like I wanted to advocate PPD, because you know, like when I was going through that rough patch in my life, I saw how my mother was just so born, like how it really affected her. Like prior to her being diagnosed with dementia, like this was always something that I always remembered. She was the one who picked me up, because I was actually confined in the psychological institution. Like she was the one who picked me up, and I really saw how much she thought that it was her fault. Yeah, so like imagine like my daughter growing up will think that it's her fault that I couldn't really be there for her. So like that was just the main experience of why I wanted to advocate PPD. And as I was trying to learn about PPD as well, like when I was carrying her, and I noticed that in my research that a lot of women actually go through it, and the causes would be like they're not happy with how their physical body changes. It's like a hormonal imbalance. So like even prior to being pregnant, even if they were never diagnosed with depression or any mental illness, they can actually still get it because of the external factors, environment, the stressors in their life. So it's not just something that you had prior diagnosis to, something close to it. You can actually get it. Any mom can get it, which is something I noticed that in a lot of the support groups that I'm in. They keep talking about their experience, but they don't want to tackle the issue, which is how can you resolve your own self or your own struggles if you don't want to face it. Like you don't want to seek help for it. Because like it's normal to have the baby blues, which is the 2 weeks prior to giving birth. It's normal to feel like all the self-doubt or struggles internally or negative emotions in general. But after 2 weeks, if it goes longer than that, that's when you start to worry if it's PPD. Because if you leave it untreated, it does affect not only your daughter, it affects you in the long term. You can get anxiety, you can get paranoia. It can develop to even more if left untreated, or like the worst one, which is postpartum psychosis. So it's really not just it's not something that you want to slide under the rug, because it doesn't only affect the people around you; it also affects you as a mother and also as a woman. Yeah,
I feel like it's such an important conversation though, and it's something that really affects a lot of women. But again, like you said, it's rarely talked about in mainstream media, and if it is talked about, the action steps after the awareness is kind of swept under the rug.
Yes.
What do you think, ideally, in an ideal world where you can do everything for your advocacy and for the community that you serve, what do you want to impart with them? What action plans do you hope they could have?
Actually, one of the really, really nice action plans my NGO that I've partnered with, which is Postpartum Heroes, it's called Mommy Circle. And it's like, okay, just think of like the concept in movies where they're like in those group circles, like, hi, I'm Claire, I'm an alcoholic. Like this kind of stuff. Which honestly, like if you see it in the movies, it's like it's something you think doesn't help, but it actually does. Like you don't feel alone. You don't feel like, oh, I'm not okay. I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Like, because usually, like, what I notice is that when they start to feel like there's something out of the ordinary, they tend to hide it. I don't know, maybe because like they feel embarrassed or like they're scared. I don't know what's going through their head, but maybe those are the emotions they're feeling. So it makes them hide more.
I guess I want to go back to your younger self. And this is something that I've asked other queens as well. I wanted to know, what would your message be to your younger self? Maybe, do you think she has an idea na you would be in Miss Universe Philippines? You knew?
Yeah, I knew. Like, it's so funny because, like, I've been talking about this since I was young to my friends, even my prof who messaged me. He was like, when he found out, when they released all those official headshots, he's like, I remember when you were still in my class, you would tell me you were going to be Miss Universe, and I was like, yeah. So, like, I kind of knew. If I was going to tell my younger self something, it's just because before, like, my struggles, like, my downfalls, I was so ashamed of them. Like, I would never really want to bring it up. But now that I'm here today, like, as a mom, every story I had, like, the struggles, the achievements, even from when I was, like, a kid, falling down the stairs when I was, like, 3 years old, like, that was, like, it's something who made me who I am today, and I have to learn how to appreciate it. Like, even if it's like a crazy story about me, or even if it's like a happy moment, a happy story, a sad story, a spontaneous story, everything. It led up to who I am today. And I'm really happy with who I am today, like, especially as not just a woman, but also as a mother, because, like, I think I'm doing a great job in raising Tally. I don't want to say that I'm a great mom, because that's not gonna come from me. It's gonna come from her when she's older. So like that's not my call to say if I am. So for me, I think I'm doing a great job raising her. Sorry, I saw her down the camera. But yeah, I feel like I'm proud of my growth at the moment, and I'm excited to see my story unfold from where I am today. So if ever there's like more struggles in my life, more downfalls, I learned throughout the years to just appreciate it, embrace it. You're not perfect, no one's perfect. My daughter's not perfect, I'm not perfect. So, you know, like, that imperfection is who you are as well. It's not just the perfect parts that you think is perfect about you, it's also those imperfect parts about you. So embrace the negative, like in general, not just like physically. Even you experience everything mentally, embrace it. Like when you're feeling sad, embrace it, because like you're still human. It means you're still human, you're feeling something.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Aww.
How about you, Eileen? Oh, interview mo.
Super relatable nung sinabi mo when you were like, I always knew that I was gonna join. Same. Because I was like, diba, there was a height restriction.
Yeah.
And then I was also scrolling on social media, and then I saw it and I was like, paano ba yan? Wala nang height requirement. So sasali na ako.
See, like, if you just keep thinking about the doubts, you'll never get there. So you might as well just go. Keep going, girl.
Yeah. How do you feel na you're one of the first mothers to break this barrier, to really go beyond what was
Honestly,
previously?
at first, I was like, oh, I really am the first mom. Because I actually heard that there was other mothers joining. I didn't know I was the first one who applied. So like,
You were the first one who applied?
yeah,
Slay.
I actually just saw it like when in the social media platforms, like I was like, oh, I was the first mother who applied, but I actually knew prior to that there was other moms joining. So it's actually something I would have never thought of actually. Like, to me, it's just a normal person applying. Like,
Yeah.
I never really thought of it that way. Like, it was more of just, Claire is gonna apply.
I love that.
Claire is gonna apply. So when I saw like the news articles about me, I was like super honored at this, as well as like younger me would be like blown away. So it was just at that moment of me applying, submitting my applications, it was just feeling normal, like a normal day, like applying for college. You know, getting scared because you're applying for something. And then when I saw those articles out there, that's when it kind of just made me feel honored that I'm part of this life-changing history moment. Oh wow, feeling ko naman.
Oo naman.
But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, representation really is honestly everything. And Miss Universe is such a great platform, and to see. But at the same time, I really appreciate what you said na, oh, at the end of the day, it's still Claire applying.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't lost your identity to the new role that you have.
Yeah, that's actually what I also like try to put out there, that I'm a proud mom. Like, I really, really love being a mom. As you can see, I brought you to this interview. But at the end of the day, I'm not just a mom. I'm also like Clare Dacanay. Yeah. So like, I'm also an individual of my own, which is something I also try to cherish. So I'm not just restricted to that term of mom.
Yeah.
Or like even the term of being a woman. Like, there are some things I can do. Like, I used to play a sport, softball, which is like,
Oh, yeah.
it was only known as like the counterpart of it, which is
Of
baseball. So like when I joined softball, it was like something that it's not. It's like a really intense sport. Like it looks slow, but it's actually really intense. Like,
It's not that soft.
yeah, I got hit before in the face. It actually really hurts. Like a direct pitch to my face. Yeah, it was like not fun. No, I was scared my tooth would fall off. But you know, like at the end of the day, you're you. You're not anything else but you. Like me being a mom, that's another part of me. It's not just me. I hope that like makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. It does.